Hello, in this video, I wanted to address what it would mean um, to fashion yourself a plan of how you would proceed forward in what I have mentioned in the previous videos of after you have chosen yourself um, and after you have made all the choices into your being of cognition and recognition. And so the the energetic flow that you will be experiencing or that you're experiencing right now, just to kind of do a quick recap, is allowing you to see the magnitude of choice that you have in the front of you as a sovereign being, right? As an individualized being who's poised to recognize your own self, and your own propagation and manifestations of your own realities, not realities for the outcomes of three-dimensional space, but your realities for the outcome of your personal sovereignty, for your personal, space of existence. And so, one, I do want to point out and actually extrapolate on that a little bit because it seems to be a very important point is when we talk about manifesting reality, when we are talking about designing a future, it is not designing a future for the standpoint of here, I'm creating something for myself into this three-dimensional space. The manifestation actually lays there in the creation of outcomes for yourself into your discovery of your being, right? So the only time you can actually manifest a future is when that future energetically aligns with your higher self manifestation of self. And so it's almost like a quid pro quo type of a scenario is what only when you follow your passions, only when you align with your highest being, will you be able to manifest the future that you desire. But in truth is your desire has nothing to do with the manifestation thereof. The manifestation would have resulted itself in that place already if that outcome was indeed aligned with your future self. So um from three-dimensional standpoint, I'm trying to bring this down, but it's almost like putting the horse ahead of the carriage, right? The carriage never fits there and never belongs there, and the horse always goes in the front, right? So your manifestation, your wagon would only follow where the horse is going, right? Of course, unless you motorize your wagon, but then the whole scenario breaks through. And so yes, the horse represents your path in living, right? The horse is there guiding you, and that is your higher self. That is already your higher self guiding you and positioning you into this life. And then the carriage, which is what you think is your manifestation of the way forward, actually only goes to the place where your higher self has already designated your best place of being, or the best place of outcome living. And so through that you would find that your path forward, or how you would walk your path forward in that selection of self, um, would be in alignment with your highest good, right? Your highest good will facilitate and align all the scenarios within yourself that coincide and co-create and in fact represent what is it that you're manifesting forward, or what is it that you're creating forward, right? And so through no mind matter relation, right? The three-dimensional form does not need to exist in this place. You truly do believe that you're propagating your body forth and you're manifesting your reality, and you have desires, and you have wants and needs. But once again, only only things will come forth are the things that will come forth are the fact that they're aligned into your higher path of living. And so that, like, the example that I'm getting right now in my three-dimensional form is a lot of times Tanya in her 3D, right? I use dowsing, and I use I can do like card readings, and I can do, intuitive interpretation. I can do energy healings, right? And all of those modalities where I am able to kind of work with subtle energies, right? And my three-dimensional forms holds myself, I think, in a very high regard, in a sense of like, wow, I'm able to connect with this energy and do all this, right? But the truth of the matter is, and the truth that are being pointed out right now is, I will not be able to do anything. I will not be able to get any answers. I find anything, discover anything, provide any answers, or receive any guidance, unless that guidance or those answers or those objects or those manifestations or those healings are already and have already been aligned and pre-aligned by the individuals, or Tanya's higher selves, there to be, right? So how I would draw on that even further, right? If I'm sitting there, praying and wishing for, I don't know, a new coffee maker, right? I don't know. have This has come in before. The coffee makers have come in before, so here they go again. So, right, if I'm praying there and wishing for a new coffee maker, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be the best if I can get one of those fancy ones that foams and steams and, and all that stuff, right? And I can spend lifetimes trying to manifest myself a new coffee maker, the perfect coffee maker, in fact, right? I don't even know what coffee maker I want, but I will spend my lifetime asking for it and asking for it. But, and here's the truth, if the consumptions of coffee is not aligned with Tanya's three-dimensional form, which happens to be that they're not aligned with their three-dimensional form, no coffee makers will ever come into my life, right? No coffee makers will manifest on their own. No, yes, I do obviously have free will, and I can walk into, actually, I can just go to Amazon, and order myself a coffee maker, but at the same time, I will be going against my own personal will of alignment. And I will be foregoing that intuitive ability that I have within me, right? That never manifested that coffee maker to begin with, right? So the right outlook from that perspective would be, why did something not happen, right? And so in the past, I remember a lot of things in my life that I was wishing and hoping for, and it held all these nuances, and I felt like it was the most important thing in the world, and I was just like, distraught, completely distraught, to my three-dimensional form of when they did not happen, right? It was all consuming that this thing that I worked on for so long did not come into fruition, or this thing that I had was taken away from me, right? Or I did not manifest something. I didn't get so distraught about the manifestation. But right, if there were scenarios where I spent my lifetime, or not lifetime, never spent my lifetime on anything, where there were scenarios where I spend months trying to get something to align, or something to happen, or something to go through, right? Whether it's a new job, or like, a refinance on our home, or us getting a new car. And so months were invested into us, picking the car options, or months were invested in us, sending all the paperwork to the bank, trying to refi, or months were invested into, applying to jobs and designing resumes and whatever, right? So you can just see and feel the amount of energy that you could be putting into something, right? But all along the way, in truth, I received guidance that I probably chose not to listen to, or at the time I did not have the needed energetic nuance to be able to read the intuition that was coming in, right? At no point is my higher self not communicating with me, going, Tanya, just drop it. Just don't do that, right? That it just doesn't make me feel right, right? I can feel, now even talking about it, I can feel my energetic system, like my solar plexing of flexing and giving me that weird feeling, and like the shoulders are tensing, and then like the head doesn't even feel good and it's ringing, right? So all of those things, your body is communicating communicating with you. I mean, besides the fact that you're getting messages and, and like flashes and billboards and license plates and all that great stuff, your higher self is always guiding you and always communicating with you. But then if you're not in tune with your own alignment and you're not in tune with listening to yourself and to your own personal guidance that is coming to you at all times, and you're just chugging along towards the goal, the truth is at the end that goal will never manifest itself forward, whether it's through mind, like prayer manifestation, or even like the physical manifestation of the car coming through, or the loan being refied, or the job, your dream job coming into fruition. And so to me, I find it, um through and I'm speaking from my three-dimensional self, I find it extremely satisfying, and almost um, easy. I find life very easy, much easier than 40 years prior, when realized, oh my God, why don't I surrender? Why have I not surrendered into my own being? Right? What took me so long to not listen to my own intuition, to not listen to my energy centers, to not just like feel the energetic forces that are naturally actually guiding me. Like now that I'm able to tune in and feel, I can feel the magnetic pulse of like my body just literally is being guided, and it is beautiful and serene. And the higher self, or the spirit guides, or the angels, or god, or source, or love, or universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is pulling my being into the most beautiful path of living, right? And then recently we had a discussion of the little did I know, right? And so those moments of little did I know, are in fact your guidance, right? Like when you're feeling your body just flowing with a current, naturally, right? There's literally no obstacle in your way that would cause you to live in your truth, that would cause you to live in that recognition of your own self and your own consciousness. And so manifesting doesn't work per se, uh, unless that manifesting is aligned with your higher being. And how do you align with your higher being? You just listen, right? You listen to your energetic current, right? And so the examples that I can give you, would be to start listening to yourself and feeling yourself outside of your senses, right? Outside of, even the truth is, outside of your deep desires that are in fact there as distractions to keep you away from your truth, right? So if you have designed your life to always function to where you're steering away from the uncomfortable, or steering away from facing something, or believing in something, or seeing something that you don't want to see, just get out of your own way, and start feeling your own truth. Start feeling your own being. Allow the energies to flow. Just allow yourself to flow. And if nothing else, just just by simple declaration of self, where you will say, I choose to know me. I choose to know my own truth. And I choose to get out of my own way so I can be my true self, right? The only thing, the only person, the only force that is keeping us away from seeing ourselves is ourselves, right? And that's hard to believe, because then that means we have ourselves to blame for everything, right? And we don't have other people there to blame, which is the truth. So we are our own worst enemy. I guess that there's an expression out there, but in the sense of, we will be on our own, we will stand in our own way until we are ready to step aside and let ourselves go. And in that going, you find truth, right? In that going, you find serenity and peace. And that is where you find your path. Your path just simply aligns, whenever you get out of your own way and you follow that internal compass, that internal magnetic force that exists within you. And it's beautiful. It is, I'm extrapolating and I'm trying to go into description of that right now, but life unfolds beautiful. It's like a flower blooming eternally. It's like an eternal bloom. Your life will just bloom eternally, and then things will manifest, right? In fact, you will stop wanting things that no longer serve your needs or never have, right? You will just simply only want things naturally, um, that are in your highest good. In fact, you wouldn't even want them; they'll just appear, and you'll go, "Oh wow, well, look at that!" It's kind of like in the back of my mind, I kind of thought about it, but here it is because it has aligned with my highest good because I am aligned with my highest good. And that is the only way forward. I think is the only way to live is when you're aligned with your own truth and you allow your true self to bloom. And so just let yourself bloom, allow yourself to be you. And that is how you find a path forward. It's just by being you. So leave any comments. Thank you for listening.